You know, I don't know what to feel about that latest chapter, that final panel of Boku no Hero Academia. I already know very well there's probably going to be many that interpret that final panel with Bakugo differently. Oh yes, definitely. That's definitely going to be a huge discussion. I can already envision many of you Chibis talking in the comments below about the viewpoint on what those eyes and what the face of Bakugo meant when he said, "Stay back, Deku." That scene, my personal viewpoint on it, I know many might disagree and have their own viewpoint on it, but my viewpoint on those final panels with Bakugo before he was dragged in and disappeared, it looked like he was honestly worried for Izuku. Because if you look closely on his face, at first he's very calm. It looks like he's very calm. It's like he kind of just wants to be taken. That's slightly how it looks. But then, that doesn't fit with his character. It does not fit with Bakugo's character, because he doesn't. And also we know he just doesn't like being saved by Izuku. But then, when you look really close, and when we have a zoom-in shot of his eye, and he's like, "Deku," and you see just one eye, and you see the darkness, you see sweat. You see sweat going down his face. Like he's scared. Like he's really, really scared. And he's remaining calm. But the final panels of what, Bakugo sees, he sees Izuku running at him, beaten, and he's just lifting up his arms, screaming at him like, Bakugo, and then he's like, "Stay back, Deku," and that's it. He's just dragged in. And when you see that face, it looks like he's trying to put up a front. Like, he's mad. He's mad he's being saved, but it looks like he's trying to save Izuku and everybody else to just stay the fuck back. This is not good. Because when you see that image with a hand around Bakugo's neck, that's bad. That's very, very, very bad. And he probably knows it. Like, if he even tries to do anything, he could possibly die. And he's being dragged into God knows where with a bunch of villains. And Bakugo is probably well aware of this. So because of that, I feel like Bakugo wasn't trying to be evil, if some might interpret it that way, which most likely there might be interpretations of that. I believe he was just worried, scared, he was sweating, you saw the sweat on his face, and he just told him to stay back. But regardless of how it was done, I don't believe this is going to turn exactly out like a Sasuke situation with like a rescue arc. Of course, there probably is going to be a rescue arc with the setup with, Nomu and the tracker on him, but I feel like this is going to be a little bit different. The reason why I say that is because we already know All For One, his stance. We know he can take abilities and stuff, and we already know there is Nomu's, and we know that All For One's pretty much been making them. There's a very likely possibility with what just happened to Bakugo. Either A, he's going to get his powers removed in exchange to someone else, or B, he's going to turn into a Nomu. That's a good possibility as well, because that's been one of the main things, or themes, of Boku no Hero Academia for a little bit. Nomus are really powerful, and they have a bunch of quirks kind of planted into them. I could see Bakugo being turned into a Nomu, like a mindless fucking Nomu. I could see that happening. But then there is another option, which I hope this is not the option that happens. I have a lot of faith in the mangaka, but it is a possibility. There is a possibility that it could turn into like a rescue operation, and then Bakugo kind of turns evil. That is a possibility. Now, what I would like to see from this upcoming rescue arc, since it's obviously gonna happen, I hope this rescue arc turns into something serious to where All Might gets involved. And this actually is the perfect time, the perfect fucking time to kill off All Might. I've talked about this a lot. I've talked about this many times, that All Might is destined to die. In this series, All Might will eventually die. There will come a time where All Might will die. I think we all have kind of faced this. I mean, we love his character. All Might's such a wonderful character, but we know he is destined to die. And with the way this has been set up, especially with this arc, Izuku's out of commission. The students are weak, or, they've been kind of shoved to the side like they can't really fight back. I mean, they put up a hell of a fight, but at this time, it's time for pros to step in. And with them kind of being pushed aside and a bunch being injured, there's a very likely possibility All Might, Aizawa, and a bunch of others, Vlad and them, and I could see them all going in and trying to save Bakugo and fighting All for One. And when this happens, I can see All Might dying. I can definitely envision All Might dying, trying to save Bakugo. And this would probably be the perfect time for All Might to die. That would be crazy. Just think about that for a second. All Might and a bunch of pro heroes go in to save. They save Bakugo. They fight a bunch of villains. They put up a very hell of a good fight. But then All for One comes in. And then, you know, All Might dies. I could definitely see something like that happening. And then you have it to where, you know, Izuku, he can't participate because, well, he has, like, every bone in his body fucking shattered. So, of course, he can't do shit at the moment. So, I could see that happening. It's one of those type of moments to where it's the perfect time to probably integrate or start the progression of All Might's eventual death. It's definitely one of those times, and I could see the mangaka going down that path if that does happen, because it's that type of arc. It's that type of arc to where they're going to have to infiltrate an enemy territory. Obviously, the pros are going to find out about it, and a bunch of, you know, the students are pretty hurt right now, and it would just be so much better if the pros go in, demonstrate their abilities, try to fight the villains, and then some of them die in the process. And that'd be a really cool thing to happen. If All Might dies, the symbol of peace dies at the hands of All for One, to also add, you know, mistrust in the hero association. That would be really cool too if that does happen. But that's just my thoughts on the overall perspective of what is going on. Now, Magician, talking about him as a character, Magician, he's definitely a very tricky character because he can compress things into different objects, like coins, and that's what he did to Tokuyami and Bakugo. And because of this guy is pretty dangerous. He's definitely a dangerous character. I mean, I wonder the extent of his ability, how it works. Because it wasn't really explained how he does it. It doesn't explain if he had to touch them. It doesn't explain if they have to say a key word. It doesn't explain if, you know, if there's something he has to do. Maybe he has to stare at them for a long time. I mean, we don't really know how his ability works. We have no idea how the Magician's ability works. But there's a very likely possibility that it does have a weakness. And, I mean, probably obviously flaws. I mean, he is a magician. And because of this, I just wonder right now, is there a likely possibility that this guy could probably imprison All Might? Think about that. What if All Might got in prison? Oh, God, that'd be fucking bad. That'd be really fucking bad. Twice, oh, he's funny as fuck. I laughed my ass off. That Deadpool type personality, it just gets to me. Oh my god. After watching Deadpool and then seeing his character, you can definitely see the mangaka got inspiration from Deadpool when he designed that character, because it's fucking hilarious. And then, on top of that, Belly Button Boy with a laser. Oh my. I got to say, I expected as much. I talked about it briefly in my last chapter review, that he was going to be probably a good character in the future, depending on his characterization, because I talked about Great Boy and how he was. And then we see him in this chapter. He actually kind of saved Tokuyami. Yeah, he saved Tokuyami, and he almost saved Bakugo. And that right there, very good stuff as well. I'm so glad to see his character actually doing something. I mean, I was kind of pissed off with him in the last chapter. He was just sitting there being a coward and all that in the fetal position, scared, shitless. And then we see him in this chapter. He stands up, he shoots his laser out of his navel, and then, you know, he saves Tokuyami and almost saved Bakugo. So, very good stuff. I have to give my compliments to the character. Great characterization. Definitely, it was great redemption for him to do something like he did in this chapter. So, I'm not gonna, you know, put him down. No, I won't put him down. He did a good job. He was a good man. He did a good job. So, I'm not gonna pick on him right now. So, good job, Belly Button Boy. Now, another thing, too, is we have to think about Todoroki. Todoroki was trying to reach out and save Bakugo, which, of course, it didn't work out like that. Bakugo was still taken away. I could see to where Todoroki, he gets probably very upset that he couldn't save someone. He let someone slip through his fingers, and I can see where he might start blaming himself and giving himself some very good characterization in the future. That's a very good possibility with how this can go, especially with, you know, not being able to save someone that was just right there, which would be really cool, too. I'm curious exactly if the mangaka will expand upon that of, you know, Todoroki losing Bakugo right in front of him and not being able to save him. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe, and I love you all. Chibi out.